You have to be able to persevere, and you have to understand that you're going to get told no a majority of the time. We always go back to the baseball analogy, it seems like, of if you take 10 at bats, bank on failing 7 out of 10 times. And if you can win 3 out of 10, you're going to be an all-star. You're going to be a Hall of Famer. If you can bat, 300, 350, you're going to be in the league a long time. And that equates directly to our business as well. And like you said, perseverance. You got to have grit. You got to have determination. And you got to know going into it, I'm going to get told no. I'm going to, for whatever reason that, people are going to procrastinate. So that's the work ethic, to your point, absolutely has to be there. And then you touched on something that we're going to dive into now. You got to have a strategy to get out there and have that activity. Can you go out in the final expense or life insurance space and just cold door knock a neighborhood? Yes, there are people that do it, and there are people that are fairly successful at it. But why put yourself through that if you don't have to? Having a strategy, a lead strategy, is a nice thing to have. So let's talk about the importance of building out, finding how many leads should I take each week? And then should I turn them off one week if I have some left over from the week prior? Gordee, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. And that's always most agents that are out there, they're like, hey, I want to take 10 leads a week, and, I want to be a full-time agent. And that's really not a full-time agent. I always look at a full-time agent. You're taking 25 leads every single week on a weekly basis, because really it comes down to activity. When I'm out in the field, my whole goal is to sit down with anywhere from 12 to 15 of those people every week. And some of those people aren't going to be home, or I'm not going to be able to get them on the phone to set an appointment. And those are going to, those 10 leads or something like that I didn't see, those are going to carry over the following week. Now, the following week, I have 35 leads to work. So my activity for the following week is going to be a little bit higher. But if you don't start out there, it's really hard to get traction or get going unless you have a consistent lead flow, right? And that's one thing that we do provide over here for our agents. And we're very good at obviously coming up with, opportunities for them to be out in the field and having a consistent lead flow. That's really the strategy that I always take a look at is, if you're a full-time agent, and if it really comes down, we can backtrack the numbers. We can find out what they want to actually, how much they want to make per year, by obviously how many people they're going to see. And whether that's setting your own appointments, whether you have an appointment setter. But really nowadays, and I could say this probably 5 years ago as well, but not everybody picks up the phone, right?
Right.
There's so many scam calls that are out there that are happening right now. And if they don't recognize the number, they're not picking it up. So being a hybrid between setting appointments for yourself and obviously door knocking, if I have seen 15 people because I set 15 appointments, that's great. I still got 10 people I haven't seen. And it's that activity. It's that focus of, I need to be out there, and I still have these 10 people that I haven't been able to touch base with. I'm going to go door knock.
Yeah, I love one of the things that you touched on. That message is on point, and you just said it in your message there. You can literally reverse engineer and back into the numbers to show what you need to be doing. Remove the work ethic. Like we're gonna assume that that's where it needs to be, and you've committed to that, and you're going to do it. But from an actual strategic standpoint, you can put pen to paper, and you can show using averages what your expectations can be, what your targets can be, what they should be. For example, to your point of taking 25 leads a week, if I take 25 leads a week, that's going to cost me roughly, let's say $950. It's going to cost me $950 a week. Now, using the numbers that we just mentioned, if I can go out, let's say instead of a 300 hitter, I'm hitting 250. I'm only going to close 25% of the people I see instead of 30%. If I close 25, I should come out with about 6 deals a week. Well, 6 deals a week with an average premium of $700 annually. Follow along if you're keeping notes here and you're listening in. Do the math. If I take 25 leads a week, it's going to cost me $950. If I close 25% of those, that's 6 sales. And that's a 25% closing ratio. It could be a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse, depending on the closer you are and depending upon what part of your career you're in right now. That should roughly turn into about $4,200 a week in premium. Could be a little bit bigger if you're selling bigger premiums. Could be a little bit lower. But let's say it's about $4,200 a week in submitted premium for you. Based off of commission structure, street level contracts, what's out there, we're not going to do anything crazy. That should come out to, after advancing, about $3,600 $2,600 in commission, almost $2,700. Now, guys, if one of the biggest things we hear back when we ask an agent about setting goals, setting targets, what do you want to make? Sometimes that completely goes undiscussed at certain organizations. If you're not discussing what your goals are, you need to. But to Gordee's point, one thing that's very important is you need to know what you want. And so if you say, well, look, I'm working a JOB right now. I wanted to get into this business. That's why I got my license. I want to make six figures. Okay. How do we do it? I just broke down for you. 25 leads should turn into about 6 sales, roughly, about 4,200 in submit. After you do your commission, you're advancing, you should come out to about $2,600, almost $2,700 a week. Guys, that's $10,890 in monthly income for you. Once again, I removed out the expense originally, so that's what took it down to $2,700. You're making $128,000 a year doing this.